Hello and welcome to Golden Dongle, Quest for the Golden Dongle. I am Ivy and my pronouns are she, her, and I am joined here by my friend Jorge,
Hello,
who is a
I'm
menace to
Jorge.
society
I am
sometimes.
to society. I am also a he/him to society, and
You is
I
hims.
yeah, I'm hims. I don't know. You say I'm a menace to society, but you just told me how you punched a mosquito in the fucking face, and it's so
So
hard
yeah,
that it died.
there's a bathroom in my office, like connected to it. And so I went in there, and there was a mosquito just like landed on the wall in front of me. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to overthink this. Punch! And I just like smacked it with my fist into the wall, and I killed it immediately. It was pretty rad.
Did it explode? Did it like shatter?
There was some black smudges,
Let's go. That was like an anime punch.
right? Like I don't know. I feel like people overthink mosquito killing, and
Yes.
they go in for like a SWAT, and the SWAT ain't gonna do shit. Or they're like, oh man, I need a tool for this, and they'll like look around, but then that fucker's gone by the time they get something. Or they like, oh, I gotta have some toilet paper. Oh, but it's like,
Never heard of that one. Never heard of that one.
yeah, like so there's not like a huge mess, right? Like
Oh
you could
yeah.
like pick up the body and stuff.
Pretty disgusting. I am a defender of the swatter. I've seen what my great grandma could do with a fly swatter.
Yeah,
She
okay.
was a menace.
Yeah,
She was a menace.
but you need to
That.
look around for that tool, and then the mosquito might be gone by the time you procure this tool.
That'll come back. It wants that juicy blood. You use yourself as
Blurred.
bait. That's my technique.
Blurred.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, come get me, bitch. And then,
Yeah. So it was very exciting. I got to do a murder today. Like we it's funny, like, well, we do murders on the regular, but it's just to lower life forms, and it's fine. Like, right, the ethics are non-existent there when it's like insects, right?
we're talking about mosquitoes. That's right. Yes, we're talking about mosquitoes.
Right, so there's no ethics involved. You're like, you can just do wholesale murder on insects.
You know what's funny? I have grown to be very careful with cockroaches. I actually save them. I actually capture them and release them.
We spray poison in our house for them.
No, no, do that.
We poison
I
those.
hate pesticide. I actually think it's harmful to
Yeah,
me.
probably is.
It's
I mean, it's literally poison, so you're probably not wrong.
yes. So and then the other option is to just like smack them, but then that makes a horrible mess and it's disgusting.
Right.
So,
Okay, like,
and I live with a bug lover, so I end up just doing them.
yes, your wife does love insects.
Yeah, she is a friend of bug.
That's cute. I appreciate insects, and but like, a mosquito, right, a mosquito. Those fuckers are intending to do you harm. So I have a right to defend myself. Like I'll kill a bitch if they're trying to drink my blood.
Mosquitoes. I feel like they started this.
They did
if
start
they left
this.
me alone, I would have been chill. Like, yeah, hang out over there. You're good.
Right, like, okay, I don't kill spiders. Like, I like spiders.
Yeah, that's another one I was gonna say. I've grown fond of.
I appreciate
I have
them.
a giant spider outside my house right now.
Oh yeah. The cool bugs, like praying mantises. The cool
Yeah,
bugs.
those are dope. Yeah, yeah.
The rad ones. Like that they. I feel like to me they feel slightly intelligent, and I'm like, it would be straight up murder if I killed you. And also, you're cool as fuck.
Yeah, top 5 bugs. Here we go.
Praying mantis.
Dragonflies.
Oh yes, love dragonflies. Oh,
That's my favorite.
little anecdote about dragonflies. There are a fuck ton of them in Memphis, especially at the golf courses we go to.
Yeah,
So when we're going golfing and driving the golf cart over the hills, like, we'll be going through a cloud of dragonflies.
Wow.
They disperse
Oh,
and
that's
everything, but yeah. So dragonflies.
The most dragonflies I've ever seen in one place is in Japan when I was in Osaka.
Oh, that's neat.
It was gorgeous. Yeah.
Also, you went to Japan? That's so cool.
I did not tell you this. I did last year.
It was last year. Okay.
Yeah.
What? So
Yeah.
where did you go? Osaka.
We went
Where
to-
else?
We went to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto.
Did you go to Akihabara?
Yes, and I hated it.
Akihabara?
You know what's funny? It's like of all the places I went to, Akihabara was the one I liked the least.
Oh, really?
I'm not
Do you
joking. Yeah.
Don't they have those neat little stores though, like the retro gaming
Yeah,
places?
they're neat, but they've become extremely touristy. They like charge tourist prices for everything there.
Yeah, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
fun.
it's not as fun. It's not as fun.
Yeah.
Instead, I recommend Shibuya. Shibuya is like also
Shibuya.
nerdy, but
Isn't
it's
that the
still
trendy
feels.
area?
Yeah, yeah. But it's like with the big crossing, the
Yes.
busiest crossing in the world.
Right.
That's it's a very trendy place. It's very cool to walk around, and it's nerdy. They do have little shops everywhere.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
A lot more chill than Akihabara was.
Well, I do. Did you go to Yokohama?
Yes, and it's gorgeous too.
Is it? It looks cool.
It's like a beach city, so it's like
Yeah,
we
I
were
want to go to
along.
Yokohama.
We actually went to Yokohama because Pokemon Worlds was happening at that time,
Yeah, that's rad.
and that's where they held it.
Quick question. Do you feel
Yeah.
did you ever feel out of place or like uncomfortable because you were a foreigner?
110%. Yeah, like
See, that's
that was
my
my
concern.
favorite
And
part of the whole experience.
also being a trans woman, like those are things where I'm like, "Oh boy, I would not feel like
Yeah,
I blended in at all in Japan."
yeah, it's I mean, you're passing, so you might
Oh,
not have to
stop.
worry too much, but
No,
like,
you're sweet, but thank you.
but I've 100 the foreigner like, I know you dye your hair, so that already will make you stand out. Yeah, like don't worry about being trans. It's like the color of your hair will make you stand out.
Mm.
'Cause
And also the
we had a
fact that I'm
friend
like
that-
6'1".
Yeah, yeah, being tall also you will lord over everybody. And like for me it was like I'm wide as fuck, so like every passage was like very narrow, especially indoors. And they like pack the indoors areas so much. And I had a hard time walking around with a backpack and my
Wow.
shoulders, and like I'm hefty and all that. Like it was kind of difficult to navigate. And then the other thing is I sweat a lot.
Uh-huh.
And Japan in August is
Mm.
brutal.
That's
Like
what
the
I would
heat
have
is
assumed.
insane. And the first thing I noticed when I stepped into the airport, they don't turn the ACs on for everywhere. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not like here where everywhere is air conditioned. Over there, it's like, all right, we'll run one AC for a while. We gotta save power, so screw
Oh,
you.
stop it, Japan. Stop it.
So I recommend bringing many undershirts if you are a sweaty person like me, because I was disgusting all the locals at one point with my sweat patches.
Oh my god.
Yeah, people like I could hear people muttering behind my back. It was terrible.
Oh, that's
Uh,
rude.
Oh yeah, people, and no one will ever say anything to your face. But as soon as you turn around, it's
Wait,
like,
how did you know what they were saying though?
I could hear them say things like, "That's no good," because I understood some of it.
Uh-huh.
Or like one girl called me a gorilla, which was funny.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
I thought it was funny. I wanted to turn around and be like, "Oh, oh, oh," and scare the
That's
fuck out
kind
of
of
her.
funny
but,
though.
like, that would have been horrible. That would have traumatized her for life.
Honestly, she kind of deserves it.
I got yelled at by a yakuza. This is a
Oh
true
no
thing
shit,
that-
really?
Yes, I'm not even joking.
What'd you do to get yelled at?
Nothing. I was a foreigner. I kept walking.
Wait,
The guy was like, "What?
what?
I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "No eye contact. Just keep moving. Find the nearest subway. Get the fuck out."
What the fuck did? So wait, how'd you know he was
Oh.
Yakuza? Did he just like?
First of all,
He had
was
tattoos
walking
everywhere?
Well, I only noticed the tattoos when I got close up. I could see it through his neck, and he had the tan and like the haircut.
Then was he smoking a cigarette and was he all hunched over?
He was walking on the street instead of the sidewalk,
Okay.
which is like if anyone is acting not very like minding their own business, then
Yeah. So like once
they will stand out. They will stand out 100%.
right. So if they're acting like an American essentially in Japan.
You know what's funny is like part of me understood why Japanese people were like fed up with foreigners because I saw a lot of rude foreigners too. It was
A
like
lot of weebs.
yes, and to some extent I was like, you know what? I understand why you're all mad at me right now because like there's people stopping in the middle of Shibuya crossing and taking photos while
Mm,
cars are like honking at them, telling them to get the
yeah,
fuck out of
shouldn't
the
do
way.
that. Yeah.
I know, and there's people like smoking in non-smoking areas, and you can tell they're foreigners because they don't care, and people just being rude, amassing or like loitering too much in areas that are like extremely walkable or supposed to be like walking traffic areas, you know.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? To some extent, you're right. You're right to be pissed off. But listen,
Oh.
I'm gonna be out of here in 2 weeks, and you're never gonna see me again. You're fine. Don't worry.
Well, what did you like? Those are like some of the annoying parts
Those,
of your
those were
trip.
the annoying parts,
What
yeah.
was
But what
like
I
some
did
of the
like,
best parts then?
oh my god, this is what everyone will say. This is what everyone will say. But the public transport system is amazing. It is insane how walkable everything is.
That's
We did not need to
fantastic.
rent a car to get anywhere in Japan.
Los Angeles was the direct opposite of that. Los Angeles, you couldn't
Yeah,
fucking walk anywhere. You had to take a car
oh my
everywhere.
Yeah, so I was very happy. Like if I woke up and I'm like, oh, I want to check this place out, I would just look up the bus route and the train route, and it would take me there. Even if it took sometimes like an hour,
Yeah,
the fact that I was still able to go on foot was great.
that's
It was
awesome.
excellent. And everything is mapped out so intuitively. Like even if you don't understand Japanese, you can read a subway map. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the other thing I really liked was the shrines. I went to two
Oh,
shrines.
yes.
And the first one was the Yakuza Shrine
Ooh.
in Osaka at the end of the it's a famous street and I forgot the name. I'm so
Mm.
sorry. But it was excellent. I loved it. It was beautiful. Even though it was hot as balls, it was still great. Uh
Hot as
in the
balls.
the back of the shrine there was a nice little walking area full of like trees and forest, and it was beautiful. It was one of my favorite moments the whole time. I got lost in it. I loved it.
That's
uh
awesome.
yeah, anything that was like nature. We took a train, the Kurama line in
Oh,
Kyoto.
I was gonna say, what about Kyoto? They have like
Kyoto, the
really
Kurama
nice.
line is gorgeous.
They have nice shrines and nature stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we that's the other shrine I went to, but that one was closed by the time we got there,
Hmm.
so I
Oh,
was
what
a little sad.
about the deer in Nara?
No, I did not see any
Oh,
deer.
really? You didn't feed them
No.
the crackers?
No, I didn't get to go.
Oh,
We unfortunately for Kyoto, we kind of messed up our schedule and went to some places too late.
gotcha.
Uh, but the Karama line was gorgeous. It's a train that goes along the countryside, and it's probably one of my favorite. Maybe my top favorite moment was going to this like sleepy, quiet little country town at the end of the Karama line, and or was it the Hiei line? Actually, I'm thinking of Yu Yu Hakusho. Hold up. But no, one train was called the Karama line. And that one takes you to like the countryside, and it's gorgeous, and I recommend it. Please go find it. It's like a little green train, I think, with like a gold ring around it.
Mm.
And anyway, yes, that was my favorite stuff.
In Osaka,
The
did you have to travel far to get there? Like
Yes,
because it's like an island, right?
Osaka is not an island. Osaka
Or
is
am I
like
thinking of
thinking of Okinawa.
Okinawa? Yeah, sorry. So
Osaka
Osaka,
is
yeah.
Osaka is like east of Tokyo, and it's like an hour and some change uh, rail line. Actually, it's 2 hours to if you take the bullet train,
Yeah.
which is also another one of my favorite things. That train was amazing. It's a smooth freaking ride the whole time, and you get to buy your little bento box to eat while you're in it,
That's cute.
and it's just a relaxing. It's like even more relaxing than a flight.
That's
Uh,
wonderful.
and it's going at like 150 miles per hour. You see so much of the country, like the
Speak
best of it.
right. And speaking of the beauty of Japan, I would like to play golf at the course that is near Mount Fuji. You
They
know,
got golf in Japan. I did not know that.
they have many golf courses in Japan,
I,
and
you know
one of
what?
them. One
Should
of
not
them
surprise.
is, well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, how many businessmen probably do golf trips out there? But, yeah, like, they have a course that's right in front of Mount Fuji, and it's just pretty as fuck. Just Mount Fuji in the background and all the pretty trees and stuff.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So,
could go on all day, but we're here to
well,
talk about
before we get to Ghost in the Shell 2, Man Machine Interface, which is the
Speaking of the
subject
beauty of Japan.
we have just run quickly through your insect list. We had number
Oh,
5.
crap, yeah.
Number 5 was dragonflies. What's
I'm so
number
glad you came back
4?
to this. We left people in so much suspense. So
Yeah.
number 1, dragonfly. Number 2, best bug, beetles.
Okay.
Like especially the horn beetles. These guys
Sure.
are dope. Number 3, bumblebees. They're awesome.
They are cute.
And they're fuzzy and has a bumblebee ever like touched you?
I think you can pet them because they get distracted when they're pollinating.
Yes, they're super docile.
Yeah.
They're so soft. It's scary.
Well, they're fuzzy.
It scared me because I was like, "What is this feeling?" And I look at my foot, and there's a bumblebee just
That's
walking on my
cute.
foot, and I freaked out because I used to be afraid of bees when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
so like those old feelings came back. But I was like, "Oh, that felt nice."
Yeah.
Number 4. This is a toss-up. I like
Okay.
because arachnids aren't really insects. I can't really put spiders in there.
Right.
So I'm gonna say millipedes. I think millipedes are cool.
Wow. All right. Well, then number 5 has to be praying mantises because you can't not have them.
True. So we'll put praying mantises as number 5. I have a praying mantis story, and it's a short one.
Okay.
Me and Margot got up early to work one time because I think we had an appointment somewhere. So we just like, let's just go to work early.
Right.
And there's a Target right next to work. So we kind of killed some time in there before our shift started. And on the floor of the Target entrance, inside is a giant praying mantis.
Damn.
And Margot's like, we need to rescue him. This is why we're here.
You know what's fucking bizarre?
We're brought here to rescue this creature. Anyway, yes.
I too have rescued a praying mantis outside of Target before. It was like on the side though, where the parking spaces are along the building. I picked it up and put it in a tree.
All that red.
I guess so. I don't know. Fucking praying mantises shop at Target apparently.
Yeah, this dude was shopping.
Them's fuckers love Target.
Them be shopping at Target.
Right.
But we're like, no, little buddy. You gotta
No,
get out of here.
go into the tree. You're gonna get stomped. Some asswipe is gonna step on you.
Yes, I know. It was so scary. And it was the biggest one I've ever seen, too. So
Yeah.
I was impressed.
They let you pick them up, but they may pinch you.
Oh, it's fine.
It's fine. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
So, that is our top insect list
How did
2024.
Wow, this went on for...
It's
for
it's
a
great.
while.
I love it. This is what I live for when we do our episodes.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, all right.
So, now we shall begin our journey into Ghost in the Shell 2. The
Art.
Man Machine Interface. Let me turn the
The-
light
the
on
real
in
part.
my office.
Okay. I was like, where are you?
I have my desk light on, but it wasn't bright enough to look at the comic, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because, alright,
the
so...
real... Go on.
No,
You
what were
start,
you
you
gonna...
start.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this is the real sequel to Ghost in the Shell.
This is the direct sequel to the original Ghost in the Shell manga. So, the original manga, which was published in 1989, I believe. This was...
89?
Yes, and this was part 2 published in 97, I believe. Or at least that's when it started being serialized. I don't know if it was published in a magazine, but I'm pretty sure I think the collected version was released in 2001. I saw Shirow did a note about that.
Yes, the serialized, I believe, was Shueisha. I'm trying to remember the I think that might be the publisher, not the book it was in. But
Right.
I was surprised at how early this was released.
Yes, and you were also surprised to learn that there is a Ghost in the Shell 1.5 that came out in between both of these works.
Yes,
Human
but I
error
believe it was
processor.
released. Was this released 1.5? Was that after 2? Like, was that made
No.
after 2?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
So
Just
it
checking.
was released between, I think it was 1990 to 95, something around then. It was basically the years. He kind of just drew chapters in between 1 and 2 throughout those years. So essentially, 1.5 is actually 2. This is actually 3.
I have another question.
Yeah.
When Man Machine Interface first came out, was it all like fully CG rendered and digitally painted?
You know, that's a good question. If it was, he was way the fuck ahead of his time.
I know. This is I find it hard to believe, but like for being early digital art, which this still is, even considering like
It
it
looks
coming out in
good.
2000,
And
it's fantastic. It's amazing.
right. And oh my god, there's so many. All right, now here's my bashing time where I get angry at someone.
Okay. What are you gonna get angry at?
So I watched some reviews on YouTube about Man Machine Interface because I was like, all right, I want to see what this is a very complex story. I want to see what other people's opinions are on the story. So many, all right, so many, like two people who posted reviews commented on how like, oh, the CG looks whack and like fucking the and the story, I don't understand it. And what's with all the panty shots? Like, there's dudes saying that, and I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm a trans woman, and I approve of all the panty shots. Like,
I approve because they are fucking gorgeous.
They are. They're well rendered. They
I
make,
know. It's like you're gonna do it. Go all out. That's always my
Right.
philosophy with this shit.
and if they're
And this dude
listen,
went too far.
if they're trying to fucking score like feminist points or something, being like, oh, I don't look at that stuff, dude. Like, I'm a
Oh,
trans.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, no, listen to me. I'm a trans woman. I'm a trans woman, and I approve of it. I think there should be more of it, and it's
There's
fine.
your permission. If you're listening right now, shut the fuck up.
Right? Like, stop the.
No,
what do you
okay,
call
and
that?
I've
Virtue
this-
signaling or some shit?
Man, as buff as fuck, and I still think, whatever. Just it's fucking great. Screw it.
Right? Like, I don't get
Masamune
that.
Shirow wanted to draw a panty shot, and he did it. So
right?
what?
Like, shut the fuck up. Like, okay, like Motoko's not wearing pants in this chapter. She has panties on. Like, shut the fuck up. She's not naked. Like, calm
What I
down.
appreciate is that like I really love the way he draws women. They look more mature. They look more poised. More like there's just like an elegance to them, but also like a wildness to them. You know, and that's what I love about it. Like, yes, it's cheesecake as fuck, but like
Sure.
these are hot women. Like they look good. What do you want?
Right. And if everyone had fucking perfect ass prosthetic bodies, you can 100% bet that they would be showing them off in public.
I would be flipping kicks constantly. I would be doing backflips and wearing the tightest fucking skirt. Yeah,
Okay, question then. Knowing, okay, if the Ghost in the Shell reality was like our reality, like if we could have prosthetic bodies, we could also have remote control bodies, right? Would you ever go into a female body and just like be like, all right, I'm gonna be a woman for a day?
I feel like, first of all, I know this is like hypothetical, but I'm gonna be real with you. I would
Okay.
be too broke to own any other body.
But what socialism? What if socialism was real?
I feel like
Suspend your disbelief for a second.
okay, sure. Let's assume that I can't afford to have at least two bodies.
Right.
I would honestly have one like hunky big man body to be like, hell yeah, let's go daddy mode, and then another to be like, hey, you know what? It's time to serve cunt. Let's go.
So like
yeah,
a female body.
yeah, like a hot like like Chroma in this book,
Right.
who is like quickly becoming my favorite. I remember you mentioned Chroma when we were like discussing reading the book.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, she's cool. But then when I got to her part, I'm like, wait, shit, she's the best one.
I love the chapter on Chroma, first of all.
Yeah, the black and white one, yeah.
No, the whole thing. Like, even when it gets to the
the-
color pages.
Oh yeah, it's true. There are some color pages. With
Yeah, so we can actually, I don't think we have to go in any specific order unless you want to.
Uh, we can.
You
But we
want
can
you
do
want me
like
to just work from the front, and then we'll go towards the back of the book.
we can start that way, yeah, and then like kind of see
Okay.
where we go along.
Well, I'll get to my. Unless you had something that you were still talking about. I think you answered my question with the
No,
prosthetic
I'm just saying
bodies.
that like,
I
yeah, I mean, it would be fucking fun as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
And here's the thing. Yeah, I would not have a male body, honestly.
Mm.
Honestly, well, I don't know. It's fucking weird. I wouldn't have a need for it, for me personally.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute. And I mean, that's great. It's like, look at Motoko. All of her bodies. I don't know if you noticed this. I'm sure
Right.
you have. All of her bodies are hot women.
Okay, like,
Every single one of them.
would you have one of those huge ass male bodies that like has a fucking female body hiding inside of it, like a fucking
Yo,
suitcase?
that was like, that blew my mind when I first saw it. I was like, holy
She's
shit.
like hiding female bodies within male bodies, like the chest fucking opens up like a like.
Yeah, I know the panel you're talking about. The exact panel you're
Yeah,
talking
like
about.
what the fuck, Motoko? Why is that a thing?
I was gonna send you a photo, be like when the estrogen hits.
Yeah, it's basically when the estrogen hits. Ugh. All right. First of all, I'm gonna start by saying that I have the Dark Horse manga version of Ghost in the Shell Man Machine interface, which is formatted left to right.
What I have.
So it is reverse from the original format, which was right to left. And yes, you also had this edition, right?
This is the one I had for 7 years now.
Yeah, many years. And then I also bought the complete hardcover manga set. It's one book.
So you got both.
Yes. So on my second read through of the story, I actually read it right to left, which was interesting. I have to recommend the Dark Horse version because the printing and page quality is better.
That's what everyone keeps saying.
The hardcover one is more of a matte finish, kind of newsprinty. Not as bad as newsprint, but the color sections tend to come across more flat and gray, whereas they're very vibrant in the Dark Horse edition.
Yes, and they make the art stand out so much.
Right. So even though the art is flipped, I do believe that when it was originally released, Masamune Shirow did agree to having it flipped, and he had no problem with it.
Yes, I was going to bring this up. So Shiro worked together with Dark Horse to actually flip some text and elements in the background so that the reversed page order would make sense for Western readers, which is excellent. Amazing.
So let's delve into man-machine interface. So the first thing I have marked is when Motoko is on her yacht, and it's right after she interfaced with the doctor guy who was in like a submarine or some shit. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, but real quick before we start, we gotta bring up the epilogue, or sorry, the prologue.
Go ahead.
Quick, where they set up a religious tone to the whole book.
Right, so they have a psychic. Yeah.
And the original section 9 is here discussing with the psychics.
So her name is Tamaki, and she is a psychic investigator from the channeling agency.
Tamaki Tamae, yes.
Yes,
and just real quick, just mentioning that because that's very important for the epilogue. Anyway.
Yes, thematically it has to do more with spirituality than the original Ghost in the Shell did. And so the first scene that I have marked is when Motoko is getting into she's on her yacht and she's getting into this little booth thing that it looks like a tanning bed on her deck. And she's going to switch to her other body, and there's a note about decots or decats, however you say it. Decot?
I say decot.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Decoy.
Yes. So remote control prosthetic bodies. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I liked it. And again, hearkening back to that idea that you can just switch between bodies in an instant. And
there's a serious red herring in this in the beginning here, and I don't know if I want to go into it yet.
Okay, well, whenever you feel is the best time.
Yes, I think later I'll bring it up.
Okay, so make note of that. So in Motoko switches bodies to a body she has hidden in a submarine, which is pretty rad. And this body, I marked the page number. I believe it's page 40. There's an artwork of her, a drawing of her standing there in her really cool outfit, and she has like short hair and stuff and stockings.
Good. I love this outfit.
That's my favorite, probably my favorite Motoko body / outfit in this entire manga.
Her hair, her earrings.
I love it. She has depth charge earrings.
Like mine?
They're fucking yes. I love that.
So cool.
I love it too. Fantastic design, super cute. I 100% want to look like this.
Oh, by the way, what are her little buddies called? Commandos?
I mean, they are AIs, right? That's what they are.
Funny. I love them.
Oh, me too. Max, Musashi. I'm trying to remember all their names.
No fucking.
I adore.
Loki.
Yes. Wait, there's another one I have to remember their name. I know. I'm a big fan.
They have like deity names. Yes. If you want to know the characters I relate to when I read comics, sometimes.
Who?
Those guys.
The little dudes.
Oh, one. Okay, if you flip, let me see if I can find the page number for this.
Oh, and by the way, this episode's going to be very visual heavy. I'm just going to be putting a lot of these things we're talking about in the video.
There's a panel on the bottom left corner, right before she possesses the guy inside of the other submarine.
What page?
Where there's one of the little guys. I don't have a number, but it's where it says. It's where they start seeing the antenna feed hatch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, the CG water is so aesthetic and beautiful.
Yeah.
It captures this era of CG so well. I love it.
There's
just a little guy with a steering wheel, and I'm like, oh, that's me for real.
You're like, I identify with this motherfucker.
Look at his little eyebrows. They're so good.
Are you talking about the one AI guy that looks different than the other ones?
He has eyebrows, this one, and he's
I'm trying to find him. I know what you're talking about.
With a little steering wheel. It's adorable. It's so cute.
Yes.
I love these guys.
You identified with that guy.
Yes, I always find like if there's a mischievous little imp type character, that's like that's me.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The whole starting this in like an underwater setting was really cool and different than the other Ghost in the Shell installments, which I liked. And basically, so all right, the story up to that point is that there's this country that's like having some kind of rebellion, and then their commander is on a sub and heading towards Poseidon, which is the fucking company that Motoko works for now. So Poseidon Industrial. So Motoko went from working in the public government sector to the private sector, which is interesting, which is a huge career shift. And let's also remember that Motoko in this book is Motoko Aramaki. And she has fused with several consciousnesses.
Okay, which is where my red herring was gonna go.
Okay, go ahead then. It seems like a good time.
It's a spoiler though. It's like at the very end. But anyway, let's move on. I don't want to talk about it yet.
So yes. All right. So flipping through, I'm just gonna see what the next thing was that I marked.
Wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
So she has a secretary.
Grace. Yeah.
Yeah, Grace. Are they dating? Because there are times when like the little guys are like, "Is Grace trying to get you to do something weird?" And I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
Maybe. I didn't think that, but that's a strong. It's a strong possibility.
That's a workplace. That's a HR violation. October.
Yeah, nobody cares about those. Nobody gives a shit about that.
God damn, her makeup is so good.
Yeah, it's always flawless.
I love the lipstick. The lip gloss is so good.
He always draws her with like a fucking full-on lip liner and like fucking lipstick and everything.
That hair, oh my god, I'm going crazy. Jesus.
Okay. Wait, I'm trying to get to the next. So the next page I have marked is Motoko at her desk talking to two of her little AIs. And I believe this is... I'm trying to find a page number for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, not all the...
I know. They number like 2 fucking pages in each chapter, and that's it.
Tell me what they're saying, because I...
All right, wait, remember. 49. So page 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, page 55. And...
tell me what the first panel is.
First panel's Motoko's... First panel's Motoko sitting there with a bunch of VR space background with talking to her little AI guys. Then she's in an office sitting at a table.
Yes, found it.
And then, all right, so the liner note talks about the data disks floating in physical space.
Yeah.
I liked this because this was the first appearance of the data disk displays that were used in Standalone Complex when different characters are talking to each other and using their cyber brains. So I don't think they used this in the original manga. I think it was just kind of like word balloons popping into each other's heads.
Okay.
So I thought that was a little highlight that I was like, oh yeah, this is probably the first time they did that.
I actually bookmarked the page right next to this one.
Okay.
The bottom right panel is something I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of following the theme of the book. There's a lot of religious imagery.
Okay.
In the bottom right panel, Motoko is doing an angelic pose to the point where she even has a halo behind her.
Okay, yeah.
Which I know for a fact that Masamune Shirow is fascinated with Judeo-Christianism.
I did not know this.
Yeah, he actually listens to choruses in the background sometimes for religious music.
Wow.
Of all types of religion. He's very fascinated with that subject. And it's one of his inspirations while drawing is just playing religious music.
Oh, that's amazing. I did not know this. And then they're also talking about, in that same page, another interesting element. They're talking about that woman who was the kind of the fake decoy commander of the Manabia army.
Yeah.
And they're showing all of her fake implanted memories and stuff.
Yes.
And
all of these are little fully drawn panels too, by the way, which is
right. He fucking sat there and drew each one. It's how did you do that? I don't understand how he had that much time to draw all of this.
Also, when I first read this way back then, I used to have the single issues, so I was never able to read the whole thing.
I had one of the single issues back in the day.
I have quite a few, but I would buy them as I found them, so I couldn't get all of it.
Oh yeah, I went to a comic book store back in the day, and I was 15 because it was 2003 when that came out, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm buying this and it has titties.
Yeah, no, for real. I bought this because I was like, oh shit, this is good. What is it? And then I was like, oh fuck, my brain is too small for this.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, back then, I really like seeing Shiro draw a character of different skin color.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Different hair and different features. I was like, oh, because it's important for people to see different races and ethnicities portrayed in different styles,
right?
Especially anime, which has a very it can be a little limited sometimes in that aspect.
Yes.
But I feel like Shiro does a good job of exploring different features.
Yeah, he has some diversity going in his designs, which is pretty rad. Yeah.
Borderline stereotypes sometimes, but
borderline.
But well drawn at least.
Yes. So one of the next things I have marked is from that point. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages ahead, where Motoko is in her next decot body, and she's running down the street. And there's a panel on the left side where one of her little AI dudes pops up, and he's like, ma'am, this infringes upon the law regulating movements of people with high-functioning bodies.
Yeah.
The international one. And then she's like, I couldn't care less. And I'm like, and then this one dude's like, hey, my company made that hair. when he's looking at Motoko. I'm like, this is fucking amazing on so many levels because one, prosthetic bodies are just widespread, and this dude notices that he manufactured her hair, and two, there's fucking laws governing what you can and can't do with your prosthetic bodies in public, like fucking jumping off of buildings. And
I do like that.
It's a little bit of world building there. And also on the right side, I marked on the next page when she jumps into the water and she smashes her head on the bottom of the canal because her body is like super fucking heavy from being made out of metal.
She also doesn't have a swimming program.
Right, so she just immediately plummets because her body's so heavy. And they do talk about that quite a bit in Ghost in the Shell. There was this scene in the original Ghost in the Shell where Motoko is diving to the bottom of the water and she's wearing a special suit that basically makes her buoyant, come back to the surface. Otherwise, she would fucking sink and drown. So
yeah, I like her little funny face that she's making because it kind of reminds me of like classic Masamune Shirow manga where he makes very expressive characters. Surprisingly,
he does, and he tends to make characters have playful expressions.
Yeah, so I was happy to see that kind of come back. Yes. Also, the panel right above is very lovingly rendered ass and
yes. Are you sure you don't have a problem with that being a man and all? Like, are you sure?
Oh.
Are you sure you don't have any fake or do you have any outrage, any virtue signaling?
I completely denounce this. This
is it pornographic and
gratuitous fan service?
We do not stand for such things.
Oh, I am better than that, actually.
Yes, we didn't.
I'm better than everyone here. Anyway, this is cringe. I don't want to talk about it.
No, it just got me that they brought it up like as a fucking focal point on the art.
Jorge and Ivy, I know a lot of people like this. Like,
so shut the fuck up. Like, I like it.
I feel bad. I genuinely feel bad because like. I do think that this is like a guy thing. I do think like a lot of guys feel like the need to apologize for themselves constantly.
Yeah.
Just because like they don't want to be perceived as a threat to other women or to other men even.
Sure.
And it's like it enters that like the problem is that there's no communication as to like what is like just okay and what is like
what makes you a creep, what makes you a creep and what doesn't, what behavior is acceptable and what isn't. Well, you know, okay, I mean the fan service element, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, is pretty widespread and prevalent in this work, and you know, it's a major component of this. Part of you, if you're going into I want to say part of you, if you're going into man-machine interface, you like women in some regard. Like, come on. Like, you I don't know how to word it, but, like, I don't know.
No, that's perfect.
Like, here's the thing. I don't view it as, like, I get what they're saying. They're afraid to be misogynistic. I get that.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
they're so afraid that even the stuff that's harmless is like a problem. You know what I mean?
But Motoko's a fucking cool badass, and she could be naked if she wants, and it's cool. Like, I want to be like Motoko. I want giant titties and do cool stuff.
I was gonna say that what I love about Shirow's women is that yes, they're all over the fucking place, but there's also like a I said this earlier, a poise to them, like a elegance to them,
right?
Like a maturity, a strength, and I love that about it. Like, this is the reason I find women so attractive.
Motoko is so fucking strong, driven, and independent in this story.
We said it. We said independent.
We did. Independent woman. Gotta do that Z snap. And yeah, I just think like, yeah, there's certain contexts. What?
Okay. Yes. Context. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. That's what I was gonna say.
Context. Okay. Go ahead.
Because the part that when fan service becomes uncomfortable for me
Mm-hmm.
is when in that context it is always used as a like it is only represented in a moment when a female character is either being taken advantage of in an extremely vulnerable and precarious situation
Right.
in a in like a place that kind of breeds like abusive tendencies, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
it's
exploitive.
kind of, yes, exactly, when it's like exploitative in that aspect, when it's like
And this is
victimizing
right, and this is
somebody.
100% not exploitive. Like
That's
I
the difference, yeah.
okay, can I tell you from my point of view as a trans
At
woman?
all points, at all times, Motoko is in control. Anyway,
Yeah, and as a trans woman, this book is empowering to me. Like
wow,
the fact that
you heard it here.
Motoko is at this point is a fucking disembodied consciousness, but she chooses to be a
Oh
woman.
my god.
It's like, you know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
there's a little bit of a trans experience there. Yes,
There's a
like
huge trans element to Ghost in the
chooses
Shell.
to be a woman. All of her bodies are like very feminine, very athletic, very
Right.
like
And like, okay,
all over the place.
yeah, and like fucking transphobes, like, are you gonna go to Motoko and be like, you're not really a woman? Like, she's
Oh,
literally a consciousness in a prosthetic body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it would be cool
if the
if Shiro talked about this shit too.
yeah, I think a lot of it's implied, and a lot of how do I word this? A lot of Ghost in the Shell feels like it's a future where they've moved beyond being caught up on gender. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels very much like people are not hung up on it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a character that I think of when you say this, Millennium.
Oh, I fucking
Um,
Millennium's awesome, and I do have some of that bookmarked.
yes, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but there is a point where they are very ambiguous about Millennium's gender.
Yeah, because
So,
Masamune Shirow, the author, has a liner note that says, "This is how Millennium chooses to present his slash herself."
yes.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. he he completely accepts that like people are just trans in this universe. You know, it's a possibility. He's not, you know, it's so silly to be like to think otherwise in this setting. You know, it's like
I'm glad we talked about this because this is something that has bothered me in general about my fellow men friends.
oh, okay. Tell me what bothers you about your fellow man friends.
Well, that kind of thing where it's like I will 100% admit it. I'm a horny motherfucker. Like
Okay,
and
like
I have no problem expressing when I'm like thirsting for a character.
I like it too.
Uh,
I'm the same way, dude. Like,
yeah.
it's totally fine. I may,
So
yeah, we could get into all
I
that, but go ahead, continue.
the thing is that like I notice with my other guy friends, like sometimes they get super shy about that shit. Like,
Okay.
and I can tell that they're trying to like not be like they're trying not to be weird about it. To be fair, and I'll give them that. Like,
Yes.
you know, it is when you're like super cis man, like that there is a level of like, okay, I gotta be careful not to come off as a total fucking creep. There's always that worry in your head.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you some
And
things about that once you're done.
okay, so I understand that very much, but there is like a healthy way of expressing these things, and one of those ways is through fiction. Like,
Oh yeah,
I
agreed.
think fiction gives us like the leeway to express our sexuality in a healthy way. This is what I love about
Exactly.
fiction.
Exactly.
Uh,
It's the place where that's the point of fiction, to explore something that you can't or have limitations in real life, you know.
yeah, right. When I say I'm a horny motherfucker, I'm not going around in the street going like, "Hey, girl, damn, you hot? What the fuck's going on, baby?" Like,
I'm not jacking off everywhere.
oh yeah, exactly. I just feel like if a character I see in fiction is like
Yeah.
200% my
Also,
type,
I
I'm
do
gonna say it.
right, and that's fine. They're it's I totally agree with that. Yeah, but definitely as a little side note relating to what you were saying, I do appreciate when men are well mannered and aren't gross because
100%.
I have gotten some weird comments on my social media And being a woman now and getting that attention is the weirdest fucking shit sometimes. Like
I
when
can imagine.
yeah, like just imagine experiencing some of those comments you've seen on the internet but like directed towards you.
Exactly. Yes.
It's pretty fucking weird. So I super appreciate when men are very polite.
You gotta be classy. You gotta be classy, and I think it's possible to be classy and be like, "This panty shot's pretty good. Like, I think it looks great."
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to like be you don't have to like go crazy about it. You could just be like, yeah, the art's really good and he draws attractive women. I'm not going to deny that. You
Yeah, I
know.
think this I've spoken to Margot about my wife about this before, and
Mm,
I think she put it really well. Like, if you ever want to compliment something that you find attractive, you find the things that a person is working towards. So like, if you think a person's cute, you compliment their hair. Like, oh, your hair looks really nice because that's something they work for. They work towards.
right.
Or like like you look great today. Like I really like your dress. Like if someone's wearing a nice dress that
Right.
day. Those are things that person woke up and chose that dress. So that's a compliment to them as a person. And you are telling them, "Hey, you look good. You look attractive." And I live by these words. This is a great way to express like when somebody looks good instead of saying, "Hey, nice tits, girl." Like you can't say that. It's not
Yeah.
how it works. Like,
I got to say since transitioning like I've learned that women compliment each other and
yes.
I kind of learned uh oh, also because it's coming from a different place because I'm not presenting as a man anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not I'm not afraid of it coming across as me hitting on somebody. Like, I'll just be like, "Oh, your hair's pretty. I really like that color."
There you go. Yep, exactly.
Like, yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
lots of interesting things in terms of gender.
So when I see Clarice and she's jumping down and she's full on coochie shot, I'm like, hey, it's a nice shot
Right.
because
You're not going to say it's
Masamune Shirow
gratuitous and like, "Oh my god, the
I'm neither
devil, the
gonna say
devil."
I'm neither gonna say, oh, this is fan service, but I'm also not gonna say, oh, nice pussy, oh, goddamn, oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, cuz
oh
like
yeah.
there's definitely a middle ground and people need to learn that. Um
It's rendered lovingly. This is what I
but
like. It's rendered
if you
lovingly.
will turn to page 104, I love this
104.
page. I love this page. I have it marked.
Which one? Describe the first panel.
So it's just a big shot of Motoko walking, and she is holding her jacket, and she throws her other outfit to her maid, who I don't
This
know.
is right after that really cool fight scene with the chick.
Yes, so page 104, and then at the bottom there's like the guys talking on the newscast.
Okay, I gotta say, I love the way Shiro renders like moist skin.
Yeah,
Like
he's good
the
at he's good at
pores.
drawing moistness.
Yes, like he draws the pores. Like I guess he uses like a brush or something, but that's
He must
insanely
because
good
it does
for
look.
this time and age.
Yeah, he does put a
Right.
lot of detail into those shots.
Ooh,
But
we
I
see Virus. Oh, that's really cool. She's wearing all dark. Great.
so yeah, she's
Wait,
talking. Yeah,
where's the jacket? Shit, I missed it. Hold up.
at the top of the top panel, she's throwing the jacket to her maid, who is actually the AI Valkyrie. Oh wait,
Oh,
no,
hold
wait,
up.
wait, wait, Valkyrie for the charter flight. Oh no,
That's
that's the
skipping
name of
way
the
ahead.
fart.
That's skipping way ahead.
Well, I
Hold up,
said
hold up.
page 104. It's actually one of the few pages that has a number.
Okay, before we get there, because I got to talk about a few things.
All right.
I love the scene when she enters stage 6 of level 6 of
That dude's brain.
yeah, I forgot his name.
The
Current
professor.
president of no, not he's like the isn't he like
Shit, what's
the
his name?
Meditech president guy?
Yeah. No, he's not the president. I forget what his name is.
Oh no, not the president. Shit, he was like a guy that was gonna get fired, but they like brought him back.
He's the guy
From
sitting there at the
Meditech.
desk.
Yes,
I know.
something. It starts with
So,
L.
so you like her design when she's diving into his
I
cyber
love her
brain?
virus design. Yes, it's like she has a visor. She's wearing all dark. It's like in contrast to wearing all light.
Yeah, it's this design is very 2000s core.
Yes.
It feels
God.
very late
It's like a
90s.
music video. Yes,
Yeah.
it's like a music video. But then when she enters level 6 and like
She's
changes
all
her form
naked.
to like true Motoko, again, that's the red herring I was talking about, but I'll tell you later. And they start foreshadowing the theme of mirrors here.
Yes, she sees
Um,
herself. So there is a panel, I will put it up in the video, where once she dives to level 6, she sees herself.
yes, that's the
And
one.
that does
And
have significance to the end of the story.
exactly, I actually wrote a note right here, looking into a mirror, foreshadowing. Yes.
Right.
And I love the green teal background with the roots and like all the digital effects going on,
Right.
and then her looking angelic and nude. It's like really ethereal is the word. Ephemeral. I forgot the name of
Yeah,
the.
ephemeral. Yeah.
There, thank you. Yes, it's like very spiritual. I love it.
Yeah.
And she reveals the scandal, the conspiracy. Finds a
With
bunch of pigs.
with the pigs, the pigs.
Yeah, the little pigs. One of the little
Pigs.
guys goes pink. And yes, it's a scandal. Somebody
So
is using pig brains to experiment on land connections.
yes, and the whole point of the pigs is that they create organs. Her company creates organs to harvest
Ah,
for
yes.
rich people.
Editech is yes, they harvest organs for rich people.
In case they need an organ or some shit.
Exactly. Like organ transplants are basically farmed.
Right.
So,
And
which you know kind of makes sense in the future, given that like
right.
you can't always have an organ donation, but it as this scene demonstrates, it kind of enters like a morally gray area.
Yes.
Uh,
So the next I agree with that. And it kind of establishes an important plot point, you know, with Metatech and like kind of opens the story up
yeah,
to the next part. So the next scene,
Ibris,
the
that's
next,
his name, and he is the superintendent. Sorry,
okay, gotcha. So also, Poseidon Industrial, is it like its own city? That's like what I'm getting from this.
I figured Poseidon is the city and Metatech is the corporation.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was Poseidon Industrial she worked at.
I think she works for Metatech.
Okay, well,
I could be wrong.
or it could
The
be
story
Metatech.
was-
Metatech is a subsidiary of Poseidon Industrial.
We'll say that for now.
There's also brief mention, I do not know on what page, but of a city in the Indian Ocean called Pegasus. And I don't remember where it is, and it's mentioned like one fucking time in the book, but it sounded cool.
God,
But-
I love the covers for the single for every like episode.
Yes. And on page 108, Motoko is walking into the entrance to Poseidon Industrial to meet with the president, and then there is an assault, and the president is
We
attacked.
didn't talk about the panel you wanted to talk about when Motoko hands over her jacket to her little maid.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, I was just trying to move at a fair pace, but okay.
But I love that panel.
It's an excellent shot. It's full body of her walking into her bitchin' room that she's got there. It's all CG and cool looking, and she throws her jacket to her maid, and there's a little like news report debate.
Yeah, there's
a little
going on about the ethics of like
basically
modern medicine.
the ethics of cyberization, basically in the Ghost in the Shell universe.
And I love that it's happening in the bottom there. You can read it as its own sequence.
Yeah, and it was kind of a random thing. Like, you know, it's just kind of inserted at the bottom of 4 pages, and it's a conversation that kind of just, it's, you know, some nice little world building.
Yeah, very much.
But yes.
Also a nice hitting shot in the middle there.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go to Motoko arriving at the
Yes, so the
Titan Industrial. Yes.
the president is killed by a little girl,
Oh, yeah!
seemingly stabbed in the head with a pen or something.
Well, there's a really cool sequence here where they're like, shit, there's like somebody has infiltrated
Right,
everyone.
and this whole sequence was adapted in Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. If you've
No
seen that
kidding.
series,
I've seen the series, but not that episode.
okay, because it's one of the
Cool.
first times where the Laughing Man supposedly manifests through a virus, and basically it's a press conference like this, and a bunch of people just start randomly fucking attacking the president or whoever it is. So they took this scene and adapted it to that episode in Standalone Complex, which is one of the things I enjoy about Standalone Complex. They kind of adapted some of the things from the different manga.
Ah, very good. Very good.
But
I do like the sequence here. I do like a lot because it kind of demonstrates like the ability of like the capability of terrorists in this modern setting where it's like,
yeah,
well, we failed with this guy. Let's just hack this little girl. Like it's insidious. It's terrible, but like
right.
it makes sense in the context of the world.
So the next thing I'm gonna skip ahead to, just because we have a lot to cover towards the end.
We're almost there.
So I do like the design of the female police officer that Motoko ghost hacks.
Again, she's like, let me find a body I can inhabit. All right, hot lady. Here
Yeah.
we go.
All right, hot lady. Yep, hot lady. Gonna do some panty shots. Yep. So that happens, and then probably my favorite entire chapter in Man Machine Interface is when Chroma shows up, and
Fucking Chroma, let's
yes,
go.
Chroma, our favorite, and she meets with the hacker.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm so sorry. Antares is briefly introduced.
Yes, and she might be somebody we know, possibly.
She might be somebody. Anyway, go on.
So Antares, she's the lady with like the face and hood covering, so you can't see who she is. You just see her eyes.
It's actually crazy when a woman hides her face.
So Motoko meets up with this fucking hacker guy. I mean, let me rephrase that. Chroma meets up with this fucking hacker guy, and he's got like this fucking bimbo secretary. And
yes!
And she's like, and a guy with a fucking toaster on his head, and another guy with like a fucking cheese grater mouth, and they're like, oh fuck dude, Chroma. They're like, oh fuck dude, Chroma's in the building. And it's like, what? Hey secretary lady, Chroma's here. It's like, yeah, she's like in a meeting with him right now. So okay, the part where Chroma's talking to this dude, he's like this old guy who's like fucking hooked up to machines and shit.
He's in a tube, yeah.
And the hacker guy there was one time where he didn't give Motoko what she wanted, and she gave him a virus that basically made him die for 3 months. If you look at the dialogue, he's like, the last time I turned you down, I wound up locked in a multiphasic viral attack for 3 months.
For 3 months.
And undergoing a near-death experience.
Yep.
It's like, holy fucking shit. So she just tortured the fuck out of this guy. For no fucking...
The other thing I love is like he is completely incapacitated in real life, but in the virtual world he's like this Adonis-looking man,
buff fucking dude who's just like floating around manipulating shit. He's like fucking Tony Stark over here, like with his fucking holograms and his ripped fucking six pack. And then in real life he's like this fucking crusty guy with like goggles and tubes. He's fucking crusty as fuck. Like what? Does he have a beard? Like, I don't even know what's going on with his face. He's got like...
Yeah, actually, it looks like a cracked eggshell to me.
It's disgusting. It's like... But
on that same panel, though, bottom right is my favorite Chroma shot.
Where she's just doing her little bye. She's doing her little...
God damn, look at her. Woo! Oh my god.
She's flaunting it.
He fucking turns me into a Tex Avery wolf, I swear to God.
Chroma's amazing.
Anyway.
She's what every trans woman wants to be.
Like some of the action shots, the page immediately after when she's like jumping back and like top right panel where she's like kind of on her side jumping. That is such a good shot. I love that.
And
So good.
it's also a fantastic sequence because it plays with the idea of, once you dive into the net or something or some kind of virtual space in this world, sometimes you can get hacked and you might not know where you are or if you're back in reality. And this chapter plays with that
Mm.
idea.
Yeah, even your perception. It uses the medium of comic books well, which is something I want to talk about later. But yeah,
Right.
even the reader know when the jump.
So she goes into she finds herself in a game, basically a game
Yeah.
world, it's kind of like a massively multiplayer online game.
Hmm.
And there's different stages and worlds and settings and shit. Like there's one medieval stage with a big blob monster, and they talk about how there's a little liner note that says normally there's a major emotion, fear or delight included in the package. Players usually become involved with and experience this emotion, which is kind of fucked up because it makes it like a dream. Like in your dreams you can't tell what's real and what's not, and you kind of
Hmm.
experience those emotions.
She
That's
kind of goes through that here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And so she thinks she ends up getting out of the game, but then
Exactly.
I have my next bookmark, these four motherfuckers show up, and they're fucking weirdos. It's on page 167. There's
Oh
this
yeah,
little squat dude with a metal face. There's this
he's great.
dude with a fucking long neck and a mask. The hot lady who
Fucking
breathes
ninja showed up.
fire.
Yeah,
And
she
then
literally
and then the
looks.
fucking Cloverfield monster over here with his fangs. And like the
Cloverfield
yeah, he
monster.
looks like the fucking Cloverfield monster. He's
Oh
like
my god.
and then they just all fucking unload on her and she's just like Chroma just goes to town beating the shit out of them. The fire breathing lady is definitely my favorite. She's pretty rad.
My favorite is the squat face dude.
Oh, the first dude with like
Yeah,
the V shaped face.
he's the one that'll fuck you up if you turn back. If you turn
Yeah.
back.
I don't know. It's just a great fight sequence, and it's a color section, so it looks cool. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just something random and fun about these four motherfuckers just appearing.
it's a video game. She's still in
Yeah,
the video
it's fun. It's like, okay, here's the bosses. Wee.
game.
Okay, I didn't.
I
Yeah, and I didn't mark this next page, but basically, she transfers her consciousness again to another decot that is not Chroma. It's this woman who's like very elegant looking and wearing flowing garments, and she has her apartment that's like a fucking what do you
oh
call
my
that?
god, I love that. I
Her
love
her
that
fucking
outfit.
sexy ass 1980s apartment,
This is her no underwear outfit.
right? And yet she's wearing boots with it.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, can't get your feet dirty.
Boots, no underwear. Okay, so the next page here that's in this section that I have bookmarked is when Tamaki shows up as a fucking dragon hybrid lady hallucination.
Yes, Tamaki finally reveals herself. Which, by the way, we didn't mention this, but Tamaki has been stalking her this whole time. Every time you see a little raccoon behind
Right,
Motoko,
right.
that's Tamaki.
So Tamaki showed up first on Motoko's boat in the
Hmm.
beginning. She's like, "Scan the deck for Tanuki," and then one of the AI dudes is like, "Is that a code name?"
Nice. But the funny thing is that they can't find her because Tamaki's not digital. She's psychic.
Yeah, so she's essentially inserting herself into Motoko's mind
Hmm.
using her brain powers. But I like this design. It's cute, sexy, and well drawn. And
I love that dragon.
goddamn, goddamn Masamune Shirow, you put so much detail into your art.
I know. It's like how he must have been like just living off of the fortune of Ghost in the Shell 1, Appleseed.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
dude was probably loaded by this time, and the movie just came out in '95, and that probably made him a shit ton of money.
so the dude could just take his time with whatever he was making. That's the thing. Like
Right. And
he was already picking his fate.
I love Tamaki as a comic relief character. I think she was a great compliment to Motoko's cold, calculating exterior.
I think it's funny because when you first see Tamaki, she's so serious. I had no idea
She
she
is,
was
but
that.
then she's a goofball.
Yeah.
I think because she's trying to get Motoko to lighten up and kind of make her drop her guard and all that.
I would be annoyed too. I'd be like, buzz off, girl. Like,
I know. But she's like, no, I'm gonna float around naked and have dragons all over me and shit. Isn't this cool? I thought this looked cool. Don't you think it looks cool?
So later on, we get to Tamaki makes a mention of a religious organization.
Also, side note,
Yeah.
Masamune Shirow may or may not have a foot fetish.
I don't think so because there are I 100% don't think so because
You don't.
there's a lot of moments where, especially when Aramaki is like in the digital world,
Sure.
where he does not render her toes.
True. But he does draw her with boots sometimes.
A person who would have a foot fetish would always draw the frickin' toes.
I mean, this is true, but there's also seems to be, I don't know, just an observation, just because of how he drew Tamaki.
He would have so many foot shots. I swear to God. Anyway.
Perhaps. But what were you saying? Continue.
So we are introduced, or not introduced, but we have our first look at the religious organization. Tamaki mentions their name here. I'm trying to look for it.
Are you talking about
Stabat Mater?
Yes, Stabat Mater.
And Stabat Mater, and also Millennium. The first time we see Millennium.
Yes, Millennium, our girl.
In the middle of a throne. It's kind of insane.
She is she's in the fucking Jesus crucified pose.
Yep.
in the middle of a bunch of dudes digitally jacking off.
I guess that's what they're doing. I didn't think about it.
I mean, okay, so Motoko, when she dives into one of these dudes that's at this function here, this little function of theirs, she comments on how they're like soaked in drugs and they're probably all like euphoric and shit and doing weird things to each other.
By the way, I love the fact that like drugs play a role in this story. Like the fact that still like physical effects like change and kind of alter the digital state of E-brains, and Motoko has to be careful with that. I thought that was really cool.
Okay, but like now that we mentioned the drugs and all that stuff and the weird perverted shit, if you skip back to the girl that they thought was the commander of Manabia, and she was hooked up to all that shit and on drugs and stuff. I think the drug they called it ibogaine. Her little dude.
Yeah, I'm going back right
shit,
now.
what are they called? The AI dudes. Yeah, there's this one scene where she's like freaking out and like pissing herself, and I'm like, wow, Masamune Shirow, you didn't have to go that far. And like this is probably the one panel where I'm like, this is actually,
it makes you uncomfortable.
I mean, sorta. Like, it doesn't. I mean, it's fine, but like at the same time, I'm just like, wow, you really wanted to draw this, didn't you?
Yes, exactly. Like, okay, there's a point where, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, like when a character is in a vulnerable state and it's used for a sexy shot, that's when I start going like, I don't like this too much.
Masamune Shirow, I question your judgment on this panel, and you may have done
like,
some things.
Why isn't she wearing pants? What's going on?
She's not wearing panties. She's doing something.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of piss.
I'm gonna look up the name of. Let's see. There goes.
I am not. Also, for the visual component of this episode, I will not be posting that panel. I will not be putting that panel on this video. So go look it up if you must.
Coward.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm allowed to.
I'm trying to find the name of the little dudes. What are they called?
Well, I don't know, but I'm gonna keep the pace going on this. And
yeah, keep going while I look that up.
So, if we turn the page from Stabat Mater and Millennium, we see a giant muscle dude with his fucking chest opened and one of Motoko's decots inside of him. Just cause.
We find out later this is Motoko Aramaki number 2.
Yes, there were many Motokos. So skipping ahead a little.
Yeah. I guess I'll find these later.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's get into Millennium.
Yeah.
So you know, she's interesting. And we talked about it earlier how there's a liner note here that where Masamune Shirow basically talks about how he basically said Millennium usually makes his slash herself appear in this type of form. So again, an interesting play on gender and all
I
that.
love that panel too, by the way, when they first meet.
Yes, so Motoko is diving into Millennium's Stabat Mater's, I guess, fucking collective e-brain space.
Yeah, which resembles the pentagram shape that they saw in the pigs.
Ooh, look at that! You found a parallel I didn't even notice.
Actually, there was. I don't think the pigs were shaped in a pentagram, but it is a. I think they are connected through land, just like the pigs were.
Yes.
Um,
So
so, what? Real quick, I love these panels and how much depth they give off, like the digital backgrounds that are like very
right, and he just
cybernetic. I love that.
rendered, modeled and rendered these backgrounds, and then drew the characters in. And not only
Crazy.
that, he did it in grayscale, which is fascinating.
Yes, it looks fantastic, and like the sense of depth and scale is incredible. I
I
love it.
think it
But
worked.
yes,
It worked well because he used high contrast when rendering these elements.
correct. Yeah, a lot of black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Very like there is some half tones, but only for like certain areas. Not all of it. It's not abused at all.
Right.
And I love this panel when Motoko comes face to face with Millennium, and they're like
Yes.
digital battling. Like you can see them looking at each other. There's like little
Right.
sparks flying. It's
So
really
they're trying to hack the shit out of each other and inject each other with
yeah, I love it.
viruses and all that fun stuff that happens in man machine interface.
And
And
that's a footnote to mention us not really knowing Millennium's gender. Uh,
yes, I did like that. And then Motoko ends up winning the battle with Millennium. And on page two,
after a little back and forth, yeah, but yeah.
yes, and on page 225, there is a funny panel of Tamaki being goofy and her arms are wiggling and she's like, kinda slipped in through a little teeny quack, did ya?
She's uwu speaking.
Yeah, she's very uwu here. It's wild. It's fucking wild. I love it. Uh,
Bam! Got her ass. Got Millennium. Cyber hacked.
yeah, and then it's like, oh shit, wait a minute, something else is happening.
Yes, this is when shit gets crazy.
Shit gets real, and Motoko finds her way into a fucking space station that is full of bodies, and not just any bodies, the body of the president of Poseidon Industrial.
Yeah, it turns out he's inside of this compound.
It's a prestigious community where everyone is living in VR apparently, and our girl Motoko Kusanagi is here as well. Her body.
Here's the crazy thing. Here's the
Yes.
crazy thing, Ivy. In the beginning, when we first see Motoko Aramaki, she looks like Motoko Kusanagi
Right.
from the original Ghost in the Shell. So I feel like this was a huge red herring, like kind of telling you, yeah, it's the same one. She just has different collective consciousness now. But then later on, you find out, no,
No,
she
that's
was
it.
a person this whole time.
So apparently, Motoko Aramaki is actually Motoko 11, who is a fucking part of Motoko Kusanagi's consciousness that fused with various entities.
Yes.
And so it's kind of fucked up. We were following the story thinking it was Motoko from the original Ghost in the Shell. Meanwhile, it was a fragment of Motoko's consciousness that joined with other consciousnesses and became a new being.
Exactly.
And that is the theme of Ghost in the Shell man-machine interface. It's creating new life.
Oh, so
artificial
yeah, they go
life.
later into what is my favorite part of the comic, when
Also,
Aramaki enters Motoko's brain.
yes, but before we get to that, also shout out to the illustration on page 244 of when Motoko's first revealed and she's totally nude and it's pretty and hot and all that.
I appreciate the rendering of pubes here.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Very nice touch.
I think it was, and it's a great panel, and also, I like that he played with the original design of Motoko. Like he changed her hair up and stuff. I thought that was cool.
If you notice, if you go back one page, the president is playing like 4D chess with Motoko.
Yes, I love that. It's like
So
they're just in VR, just hanging out. Like, yeah, my body's in a fucking space station. Like, okay, if this was me, I couldn't be chill about it. I would be like, I would, I would be like, holy fuck! Right now, my body is in a fucking space station floating around the Earth and submersed in gel, and like, I don't want anything bad happening to my body. And like I keep thinking about that, yet I'm fully present here in VR, and it's really fucking weird. You know, maybe they have some kind of thing to inhibit that. You know, like I don't know how. But I guess
explain later why they're okay with this.
you're going to explain it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Then go ahead.
What happened? They talk about it later. Like all of these people are hooked up to this giant neural system because what they're trying to achieve, like a collective consciousness. So all of them are like willingly doing this,
Right.
so I don't think it would bother them to know, like, yeah, my body's somewhere, which by the way is in space, hidden in a like nondescript, hidden in a very inconspicuous satellite that's just kind of meant for communication. Uh, and they're just like hiding there, and it's fine, and they're like, cool, we're living in paradise, and also trying to achieve like collective consciousness.
And also, Motoko is apparently trying to create an artificial silicon-based life form.
Okay, that's the big reveal. So
Yes.
Aramaki enters like the ultimate state of Motoko brain.
So Motoko Aramaki.
Level 6. It's like the level 6, always level 6.
Yeah.
And it encounters
Because that's a ghost line.
Antares, and also a second person called Spica.
Yes. Spica.
And these two are kind of mirroring each other constantly and standing at the base of a giant, what appears to be a giant tree, which again is hinted at in the prologue. A cosmic tree that is the flow of the universe, or represents the flow of the universe. In this section is when Aramaki finds out that Motoko has been trying to become a fucking goddess, and also that she is trying to create life out of synthetic material. Like,
yes,
like
intelligent AI. Yes. I believe
and starting a new life form, essentially.
Yes. And
which is kind of amazing.
It is. And they kind of go for a minute, they're like, oh, should we does Motoko 11 want to merge? I don't know. Should we? She doesn't really want to. Let's send her back.
Yeah, because she knows Antares is here, but she's kind of ignoring them as they're talking, right, and kind of trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. To the point where, like, basically all of her barriers at this point have been destroyed.
Right.
Because she's entered a high security area and loses consciousness for a moment. There's a point where she's just like kind of floating in midair while Antares and Spica are talking to each other about, like,
yes, they have a lengthy conversation
going on. Yeah, and Motoko's just floating like, what's going on?
Yes, and then after this, Motoko finds herself next to in the tree area with Tamaki.
Yes, Aramaki, Tamaki, and Motoko Kusanagi herself.
Yes, and when Motoko appears, she has an awesome design, and I want to look like this.
It looks awesome.
Yes, it's a really cool design. So, and I like her hair a lot. I feel like they did it.
Yeah.
I like
her shoulder cut.
Yeah, and I just like, I don't know. I like that he didn't draw her exactly the same as like in the first Ghost in the Shell. It's interesting.
I think she chose a different form slightly.
Yeah. And basically, right. Yeah. And the art's great in this scene, and she's basically explaining herself and her motives to Motoko Aramaki. and
Mm-hmm.
she talks about the blueprint for a silicon life form, and
Yes.
then she talks about fusing and all that, and it's like, all right, well, I guess you're not going to fuse with us, so bye, see you later, girl.
And they
And
thought
then
so. Real quick, something they point out earlier is that Motoko Aramaki has been combining consciousnesses for a
yes,
while now, and to the point where she's one of the few people who has been able to do so.
right.
Uh,
And
and
they said she
so
was like four different consciousnesses fused together,
I thought it was three.
something like that.
I thought it was three, and I'll say why it later. But yeah, because of this, Spike and Antares thought that she was ready to combine with everyone, but
Right.
they found out she wasn't, and eventually let her go. But before she wakes up, she encounters the real Motoko, who tells her, "Yeah, I'm trying to become a goddess. Can you fuck off for a minute?" And
Okay,
actually,
like,
no. Wait,
okay.
you have a thing I want.
All right, first of
I'll
all,
give you my number, and we'll call each other.
we'll call you. First of all, I totally identify with Modoko wanting to become a goddess, because I too want to become a goddess. And I will.
Monaco's got, like lofty fucking ideals.
Yeah, like, I mean, I get it. I'll fucking undergo them surgeries and transform myself. Like, I did some heavy relating to Modoko in this story.
This is next level though. Like she's like, no.
I know she's like fucking ascending here.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Oh, actually, no. You have something I want. She finds out that in Aramaki's brain is a blueprint for the synthetic life forms that she wants.
Yes, and that is
So
in
they
the.
kind of trade.
Okay.
There's
You say
mirror.
Aramaki, I keep picturing Daisuke Aramaki, not fucking Modoko Aramaki.
Aramaki. There are two.
Modoko
Monaco's,
11.
Which I have it bookmarked here. There's another instance of the mirror going on where you see Kusanagi in the bottom and Aramaki on the top.
Right. I see
phrasing. So there is kind of like another instance of the mirror again, telling you like one of them like if one of them represents science, the other one represents religion, which is kind of the thesis at the end.
Right.
So yeah, and then we get to the epilogue.
Okay, so you can give your thoughts on the epilogue. The only thing I have to point out about the epilogue, other than Bato being a smartass at the end.
Oh, and Bato's here.
Yeah, Bato's here for 2 seconds. I do love Motoko's design on page 288. It's very cute, and I definitely want to look like this. Goals. And then on fucking page... Okay, so let's start 288, right? You got page 288.
Oh yeah, she's looking cute as fuck.
Super cute. But then fucking page 289, there's the picture of the drawing of her getting like reamed by tentacles up the ass and like in her vag and shooting liquid everywhere.
GF here. Also, kind of reminding everyone that Motoko's a hardcore lesbian.
Yes, and that Masamune Shirow is definitely into all of this.
All of that, yes.
everything in this fucking
great
panel.
Way to put it. We can't even show this panel because it's the most explicit in the entire book.
we get to the fucking cum shot panel on 289, and like it's like what the fuck. And
it's
Tamaki, fucking Tamaki,
just standing there. Tamaki just like you know, just the earthly pleasure.
She's just watching, and she's like, yeah, this is fine. My God.
But and it distracts from like a lot of the other shots, which are calling back to like the original Ghost of the Shell.
Right, like I don't know. It's just such a random panel. Again, huge emphasis on feet here.
Let me see. Oh yeah, you're right. There is some toes there.
Clearly something's going on with Mr. Shirow. The panel next to it, there's like a fucking robot grabbing her face. Like, what the hell's going on there? Is that like from the first? Is that from like the first Ghost in the Shell when the do you remember the movie when the tank like grabs her fucking head and like rips her arms off?
Yeah, because Tamaki, I think it is because Tamaki mentions death in that panel, so
Yeah,
maybe it's
I'm
referring to
feeling
the
like
moment.
that's what they're talking about in that panel.
Yeah,
And then if you turn the page, we got some fun Tanuki adventures. Wee!
there's Tamaki Tanuki.
Where she's a fat little Tanuki and hovering around in the spiritual realm, and
Funny form. In a serious moment too.
I know it's like, look at me, I'm a little guy. Wee!
But again, we see Motoko has entered the mirror air. The mirror is like the event horizon, like the point of like the point where the two realities converge, or at least the two universes, but also
Right.
the anti universe. Later, I bookmarked this because this is kind of the thesis of the whole thing. The mirror refers to a reflection of the. Oh damn it! They had like a name for it. I'm trying to look for it. But basically, what the mirror represents is the point of no return. Like looking
Okay.
into what the future holds of a humanity without humans, like a world where AI and artificial life has become the new existence. Uh, and this is kind of like the thesis of the whole book. It's kind of going into those fears of
Yeah,
like with technology this advanced, it almost because it becomes a spiritual thing. It's no longer a manner of tangible of tangible matter and being. You enter a realm where there is no human. There is like consciousness is information and data, and the other world, the afterlife, is like the cyberspace. You know, like that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
And again, you know, a lot of the narrative in this book and the dialogue you have to take with a grain of salt. Um, it's impossible to fully decode every little fucking piece of dialogue and narrative in this book. Um, you know, you just kind of have to go in with broad strokes in some areas and just be like, all right, this part's talking about fucking spirituality and what comes after, like the afterlife, basically, or like, okay, we're doing attack barrier shit. You're not gonna know like every little bit of techno jargon here.
There is a little. If I had a problem with this book, is that it is hard to parse out what is technobabble from like world building and like actual narrative.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
very dense and muddy.
yeah, sometimes I'm like Motoko will be like, I'm in the cyberspace. Activate all these antibodies and viruses
Yeah,
and
it's like,
put on
what?
a
We don't
decoy
even
and bomb. And I'm like,
right.
oh
We
my god,
don't
you're
even have that vocabulary. Nobody ever sat down in a chapter and explained what this shit is. You know what I mean? Like, there
it
weren't
kind of presumes that you understand what they're talking about, which is fine, but also a little indulgent and not the best way.
right. It's very much not friendly to the reader,
Oh,
and
absolutely not. Like my first read through for the first half of this book, I was fucking lost. I had to reread the first half
yeah,
of Machine
it's
Interface.
it's a book where the more you reread it, the more you enjoy it. Um, I've read
I can
it probably about 3 times now, and only then I started really like jiving with it.
Yeah,
Like,
I started really jiving with it when I like how I'm using the word jive too.
yeah, no,
Uh,
you got jive.
I I started really like understanding it more on the latter half when I was like, oh, like I'm starting to understand that there's like a spirituality theme to all this. And
Yeah,
the epilogue, I appreciate the epilogue because it spelled it out for me. It's like kind of talking into the fears of humans basically being replaced with machines.
right.
Uh, in a way that isn't just ethical or moral, which I feel like Ghost in the Shell 1 was more about, but rather spiritual, psychological, and uh, one more word that I forget. But yeah,
Yes.
religious, and in a religious manner. Like there's like how is technology going to affect religion? It's an interesting question.
Right.
I do appreciate that.
So my final verdict on this book, um, out of the Ghost in the Shell media, it is probably my favorite.
Wow.
I
Okay.
do like it more than the original, because it's so different. Honestly, it's so. You look at the original Ghost in the Shell, And it's a lot like some of Shiro's former works,
Hmm.
Appleseed and so forth. And it's a lot like a lot of the anime and manga that was around at the time. You know, and I'm not saying that it's not original. Ghost in the Shell is very original. I'm just saying that there's a
Hmm.
lot of tropes and things that have been done many times in anime and manga at that point in the late 80s that were very similar to the original Ghost in the Shell. But Man Machine Interface, it just feels like he went off the fucking wall with it. And I love that.
I
And
agree, and
and
that's
also
something
the
I
art's
like.
beautiful.
Oh yeah, not even need to mention. I feel like that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The thing I loved about Man Machine Interface. This is the first time I read the whole thing from
Mm-hmm.
front to back. The first thing that stood out to me is that this is a very indulgent project, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes not in the best way sometimes, but for the most part it works because it's like a very passionate work of art, and it uses the comic book medium to its fullest. I think that the fact that like some word bubbles are a different color so you know who's
Oh yeah.
talking, so like knowing the difference between having like different illustrative techniques to show that some dialogue is being said in the mind and some of it actually being spoken
Yes.
makes you pay attention to details like, is a character moving their mouth when they're talking, are they not? And these are things that are very awesome for comics to achieve. I feel like this uses that medium very well, which is what I appreciated a lot about it. The footnotes
Right.
are also a little indulgent, but I also appreciated that this is a format where you can have such a thing.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. Somebody said this in like a review of this work. They said that Shiro, he kind of speaks in his own kind of shorthand where he knows what he's talking about and he doesn't really care if the reader knows, you know.
Yeah, and you respect that a little bit, even though you get confused sometimes. You kind of want that for yourself. Like if I ever make a comic, there will be times where I'll be like
Oh,
self-indulgent. Well, I have my own shorthand for things
right.
I want, because that's the power of expression.
I have to say, one of the strong points in man machine interface is for me personally, it has a high level of like rereadability and going back to it. And because it's such a complex work, I catch new things each time I read it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's no way you're gonna get it all the first shot. If you are, you're lying.
Right. And I love that about it. Like, there's things that just click in my mind when I read it again. And I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. Or that's what they're talking about. Or I suddenly understand this scene. So
Hmm.
I like the complexity of the work because it lends itself to like each time you go back, you'll find something new to like about it or like investigate. It's pretty neat, honestly.
Hmm. That
So
is true.
yeah, and yeah, that's my verdict on Ghost in the Shell 2 Man Machine Interface. I think people should definitely read it, but
100.
definitely read the first one before this.
I think it's actually. I'll say this: as long as you know who Motoko Kusanagi is, you're
Yeah.
good. You can read Man Machine Interface without
Yeah,
knowing
it
the
is.
previous.
You're right. It is kind of like a independent work, independent of the original.
They do complement each other though, because I feel like I said, I feel like the first one focused
Yes.
more on like laws, ethics, and morals when in an age where technology is highly advanced, and the
Oh,
second one is like religion, spirituality,
right.
in the same setting.
Also, I like that
And
Motoko has like a ton of different decots and vehicles and weapons just stashed around the world and hideouts. Like Motoko Aramaki went fucking ape shit.
she's insane.
I know.
But I do like that about it because it kind of gives her like a top G energy.
Yeah, she's literally a one woman fucking secret agency.
And she just has hot bodies everywhere. Like, well, I want to go
Right.
here.
Right.
Where's my hot android that
I
I'm
know.
keeping?
It's like, oh, I keep this hot android inside of a dude. This one's in a fucking submarine.
I'm glad that we both agree on the best two. The PI unit underwater Motoko and
Yes,
Chroma are the best.
they are. They're the best designs. I love them. I want those bodies. I'm good. That's my goal. I'm trying to like make my body into those bodies.
I wish you all the luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some titties for that. All right,
You don't need-
so we didn't find the golden dongle, and it wasn't C-3PO's cock like we saw in the last episode.
Oh, remember? Yeah, I actually forgot about that. That we found. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't, because I would have been very uncomfortable having to pick up C-3PO's cock.
That was the golden dong. That wasn't the golden dongle.
We almost had it, and it was definitely not inside of man-machine interface. I thought it was, because there's a lot of things.
Like I thought it was gonna be on the satellite with like the president and Motoko and shit, like just orbiting space.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it might have been there, but we didn't see it, and then Motoko tried to get us to merge and shit.
I would have merged with Motoko.
Yeah, then you would have been like, wow, my consciousness is her consciousness and shit.
That would have been dope.
You're down for all that freaky shit.
I mean, honestly, some of it is like freaky good, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Like if she showed up and was like merge, I'm like, yes, ma'am.
She's definitely being the top in this situation.
Oh my gosh, she's such a top. I fucking love it.
She does have a lot of top energy.
Let's fucking go.
Tamaki's definitely a bottom.
We're talking about this now.
Yeah, might as well.
Tamaki has terminal bottom energy.
Did you say terminal?
Yeah. She's terminal bottom.
Jesus Christ, I love it.
She's bottoming hard for Aramaki. Like, what you doing? What you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing?
She's like, you gonna slap my butt a little?
I'm so thinking, I hope nothing happens to me. Oh my god.
Oh god, we ruined it.
We ruined it. It's fucked.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking great. All right. Well, that was our episode on Ghost in the Shell 2, Man-Machine Interface. So we shall continue our search for the golden dongle next time.
It will appear. I have faith.
Yes. Unless Motoko merges with it, and then we're doomed.
Nah, I mean, I guess we can't help it if that happens.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.